Enrico Brivio is a spokesman for the European Commission for Environment and Transport, Maritime Affairs and Fisheries, and joins me now from Brussels. Good to have you with us. How important do you think this vote is, and if passed, what kind of impact is it going to have?
This is a very important step towards a more sustainable economy. We are going to tackle 70% of the most found items on the beaches. So this is very important to reduce marine plastic litter, and it is a huge problem that, citizens are also being aware more and more, because we see images all over of our beaches, of fishes, and sometimes with problem even with the human health, because those produce also microplastics that can end up in the food chain. So this is a very important measure to reduce, where possible, ban the 10 most found items on single-used plastic products. And I think this is a very important step for a more sustainable economy.
You're absolutely right that the pictures we've been seeing of the buildup of plastics on beaches are extremely distressing. But many analysts say, look, plastics are something that a lot of people are talking about, but they're not the main threat to the environment. The main threat to the environment is greenhouse gas emissions. So shouldn't there be more effort being put into reducing that rather than focusing on plastics?
Well, one doesn't exclude the other. Apart that even this measure will avoid the emission of 3.4 million tons of CO2 equivalent, but we know that the European Union is at the same time very committed to the decarbonization of our economy on several fronts. So I would say that one thing doesn't exclude the other. Actually, there are two actions, part of the same vision of a more sustainable circular economy, where things are recycled, reused, and where there is less pollution that could affect our environment and our health. So I don't think this commitment to substitute those single-use plastic items that can be substituted, and to have other measures, like measure to reduce consumption, to have an extended producer responsibility, to have a proper labeling of certain products, it's perfectly in line with an effort also to reduce CO2 emission and to fight climate change.
It's clear that the EU has a big commitment to reducing single-use plastics. Do you think there's enough commitment globally? I mean, if single-use plastic is banned across Europe, but it's not in China or India, then how much of an impact could it make?
Well, this is, and even here we can do the parallel with the fight against climate change. Europe wants to be on the first line globally to fight plastic pollution and to fight climate change. Of course, there is an effort to be done to persuade our partners, especially those partners who have a huge impact on the environment, like China, India, to have a similar approach, and also to include in our trade deal with these partners some engagements, some concrete engagements also to move towards a more sustainable model of economy.
And how do we overcome objections from within the industry that this could have a negative commercial impact? It is 3 times more expensive to produce a paper straw than it is to produce a plastic straw, and some of these costs are going to have to be passed on to consumers. Well,
first of all, some of these cheap plastic single-use items we find on the market are not produced in Europe. They may be imported from foreign countries. Secondly, we have to, I think, bet on on a green economy, because we don't have only to think on the short term. Of course, on the short term, a product may cost a little more, but on the long term, it is clear that the future is of products that are less polluting the environment. They are more and more also requested by consumers, which is there's a growing awareness of the problems that certain products can create in the environment. And so I think that we have to invest more and more in the green economy, in producing these kind of products which are more sustainable. And I think this is also that will give a better future to the whole European industry.
Really interesting discussion. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Enrico Brivio there from the European Commission for Environment.